that our clap sync?
That is.
Hi guys.
It's way too cold outside.
And
It's
way
way
of
late.
water too cold outside Avatar 2.
There's a lot of problems with this story. First and foremost, the movie's 3 hours long. And unlike Lord of the Rings, which uses that time better, let's say, at the very least better, we just kind of fuck around for like half an hour with this whale. And I know that it comes back later, but it's like there was like a whole sequence of events right in the middle of the movie that just happens. And it's like, yes, there is a reason to all of it, but individually it could have been condensed down into like 2 or 3 scenes, and we would have got everything that we needed from it. So it really drags the pacing. The biggest problem that I have with this movie, again, is just the pacing. If you have a 3-hour movie, you need to use that time wisely. Endgame is a 3+ hour movie, but it doesn't feel like a 3+ hour movie because it's not the best movie in the world, but it uses its time wisely. Each scene accomplishes something developed with the plot, and most scenes have something with plot as well as character relations and maybe even emotional cathartic moments or problem set up. The entire middle of this movie forgets that there's an antagonist.
Yeah.
I leaned over to Chris and I said, did they forget about the plot?
Yeah.
Because
the fun and games goes on for way too long.
Well, again, and we don't see the bad guy. We literally see the bad guy attached to this bird. You think it's dead for a second, and then he comes back, and you're like, whoa! And then we go back to our heroes, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. And then we're with the heroes for like 30 minutes, probably 30+ minutes, and then all of a sudden the bad guy comes back, and he's like, we know how to find them.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell? Like, you are a 3-hour movie. You can't just be like, it's in a deleted scene.
Well,
no scenes were deleted in this movie, clearly.
The first movie blew up because it was such a spectacle. And I think that's the sole reason this movie is a 3-hour movie, is because they want to drag out the spectacle of a new environment. And that's fine. But again, it does take away from plot. And also, visually, this movie, to me, was very inconsistent with the quality of its visual effects, and I think that's because this is a 3-hour movie that is almost entirely CGI. It cannot be fully rendered, and goddamn, it's not. When it cuts to like super close-ups, especially in fight scenes, like especially on the creatures far away, they look very detailed.
Yeah.
But when they are coming across the camera very fast and very close, it looks like PS3.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I was wondering if you had caught that.
Yeah.
The actual the world and the lighting looks really good.
The water looks
almost
great.
all around. The water is
no, it
fantastic simulation, and the characters, like the actual Avatar characters, they look very good.
Na'vi.
They really do. The Na'vi look very good. But like Chris said, the creatures specifically, there's a lot of shots of them very close up on the camera, and I had to like rub my eyes because I thought I was just getting tired and things looked blurry.
It literally just looked like an unfinished model at times, and I could forgive it if it was 1 or 2 scenes, but especially in the third act, it's every other shot.
Yeah. But
I think the reason this movie suffered from its length is because, like Kyle said, they introduced way too much.
because they're setting up all the other sequels.
James Cameron decided that Jake Sully was going to have 4 kids and also an extra kid that also had an entire story.
Well,
and I think that plus the new place, plus the new tribes, plus the new lore is why it had to be 3 hours.
Right.
And that is why that had to be filled in. There's too much exploration to be done.
Yeah,
rather than create a cohesive and succinct story.
Yeah, and there were more characters than there really needed to be. You only needed like 2 kids.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Also the spider guy.
Tarzan.
Yeah, but Tarzan in the entire movie was the most passive character I have ever watched on screen. The whole reason that they brought him on the trip was because he was like navigator / translator, right?
Navigator?
But he needs to be there for the plot. He needs to be there so his character action at the end makes sense. And it doesn't make sense in the world of the film, and it made me question, why the hell is this man here? He's just standing around being like, bruh. Yeah, also, the mother, Navi, wasn't a character. She was in the first one.
The biggest backseat.
Yeah, like, and that's the problem, is there were too many characters and you can't focus on everyone. She literally just existed to be the mom and then to fight at the end. Like, and I'm not saying
It's the way of the Navi.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but compared to her appearance in the first movie where she was integral to the plot and to Jake's character progression without getting a whole lot of her own, although I do think that she had an arc in that movie of acceptance of him and whatnot. But again, she was just kind of there. There was no reason for her to be there other than the fact that, you know, she's supposed to be. And that's a bit disappointing because I think they could have focused more on her this movie than Jake, because I feel like, you know, he was the main character in the last one.
There's all these characters, there's all these creatures, there's all these environments, and the only character that I really felt for and felt like I got attached with and was rooting for was a whale.
Yeah.
Like, there was a death that was super emotional to the characters, and I get to them why it was emotional, but I didn't really get that connection throughout the movie. It wasn't until that flashback where I'm like, oh shit, you know. But if I got a little bit more of that in between, I don't know.
Yes, it does not have a very deep story. It does not have a lot of interesting and crazy themes, but it was more of a visual exploration of Pandora than it was anything else. And
was
that
very
for
beautiful.
that for me is cool. Unlike Kyle, I'm not afraid of the outdoors.
I
liked looking at every single thing. And actually, I'll tell you what, I enjoyed the hell out of the fun and games bit. I
did too.
Just seeing everything that was there and seeing the world truly that James Cameron created. Because it's not a thing that we get a lot of the times, right? So we have Lord of the Rings, we have Harry Potter and Narnia and all these things, but
they don't really
none
go
of them
outside
are as deep, well, besides Tolkien, as deep as what James Cameron has created. He's created an entire world with several peoples, with populations of different races, and something that we didn't see in the first movie that we really got to see here is how where a population lives affects how they look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was great. Look, the design on everything, especially the creatures and even the robots, it was great. Like, great concepts, and I had a lot of fun with the fun and games. I loved it. I felt like you could have told the story while you were there. But
yes.
yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing the environments in the next ones. The only thing that I'm very afraid of and skeptical of is that they plan on packing all these sequels out like before the end of this decade. They do not have enough time to make 4 more 3-hour
Well,
movies.
also, like, again, I don't know where the story's heading, but Pandora, as you see in the planet when they're coming down from space, is a planet of water and mountains, mostly. And we've now seen both of those explored in 3+ hour movies. So it kind of makes you wonder what the hell is going to be visually different about the next one.
Ice and fire.
I mean, you
There's
certainly
also
can do that. I'm
underground.
just saying. Well, there is underground.
Long
They could
ago.
definitely do that.
But it can't be way of Earth because they're not
No,
on
it
Earth.
would be way of ground.
If it's way on ground, I'm not watching it.
I think the most obvious thing is there's the theme of family ties, of sticking with your family, but also while there is a biological family element, there is also a shared family element between the Sullivans and the tribe. It's a good film about the importance of family and what that means to you and how it takes precedent over the community, but also the community can be a part of your family. And I like that it's not entirely black and white as to which one is more important. Yeah, what else do you guys have to say about the theme?
That's pretty much it.
There are going to be a lot of new water rides next summer at Disney.
Final thoughts. I thought this was okay. I don't think it deserved a 3-hour run length. I think they could have gone for 2.5 hours, 2:20, and they would have been just fine.
This is a movie that is more enjoyable as a spectacle and in theaters.
Yeah.
So yeah, go see it in theater.
I would do it again. I enjoyed this movie a lot
I enjoyed watching it with you guys.
because I like seeing all the cool shit.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. It was a very mid experience for me. I enjoyed some aspects of it, but overall, I'm probably never gonna watch this movie
Kyle
again.
doesn't like outside.
I do think this movie falls short on a lot of fields, but it is an overall fun experience, especially in theater. So I would say to see it in theater, 7 out of 10 experience. If you were to buy this on DVD and watch it at home, I'd give it a 6.
And what are you doing? Get Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6.
I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. And I'll tell you why. Because it was lacking a lot of story. But you know what? There were some good beats. But I don't think James Cameron made this film for it to be a story film.
Probably
He
not.
made it to look like Avatar, not V, and he did that.
All
But
right.
it can't be complete if you don't have a good story.
Yeah, well, and with that, you now know everything you need to know about Way of Water. We hope that you enjoyed. We hope that you like this video, if it's not excessively annoying. And we hope that you will subscribe, because we do these at least once a month, except for in January, because nothing's really coming out that we want to see. And with that, we will say, BFD out.
BFD out.
Oh,
buddy.
no. We'll say, I see you.
I see you. I see you.